What is up, guys? Welcome in. My name is Nick and welcome to the channel, and welcome to this my 100th video for YouTube. Yes, it does not feel like I have done 100 of these things, and yeah, I'm surprised I've even made it this far. Thank you so much for everyone who has made this possible. There are, as of this recording, 937 of you have made your way down below the video to press that all important subscribe button, and that does mean a lot to me. So what are we going to do for the 100th video? Well, we're going to be doing something a little bit different. We are not going to be going on track for this video. No. We've done 199 videos so far, and we have not done the one thing that people love the most on YouTube. But what is that, I hear you ask? Yes, it is a tier list, guys. I'm sure you are very familiar with this website. How have we gone 99 videos and we have not made a interaction farming video like a tier list? This is sure to annoy some people. I am very certain of it. I have some interesting opinions when it comes to some circuits, but we are not just grading it from S down to F. No, we are going on the true system from GOAT down through bussin, sound, mid AF, whack, and of course, get in the fucking bin. So this is going to be all the tracks as of update 9, because that is where we are right now. And so that is going to include all of the additional tracks. So Yas Marina, Hockenheim, Daytona, Sebring, Brands Hatch, and of course the Nordschleife. I think you probably guessed where that one's going. So we're starting it off here. The first one at the top of the list here is Hockenheim Ring. Now Hockenheim's a difficult one for me because the full track is bad. It's just bad, especially in public lobbies. No one brakes for the hairpin, and it is just not enjoyable. The one where you get rid of the hairpin is a little bit better, and the track is saved by the short circuit. If you ever want a great laugh, some low power B to C class cars, things like some hot hatchbacks, some old school JDM, sort of quite small-ish cars in the fiddly circuit, that's pretty good. So to start this off, it's difficult to give the Hockenheim Ring anything really more than it's pretty mid as fuck, really, isn't it? It's pretty mid as fuck. It's like, depending on the circuit, if it's the long one, nah man, I'm fine. If it's the medium one, I could be persuaded if it's a touring car lobby, and if it's a short circuit, and depending on what I'm in, if we're in like MX5s or something like that, it's pretty damn good circuit. So yeah, Hockenheim Ring setting us off here with mid AF. So next we have the circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya, the Catalunya, yeah. Now I have a lot of sentimentality for Catalunya. It's probably the track I've put one of the most amount of times in through most of the Forza Motorsports. I spent a lot of time using it as my tune-in track for Forza Motorsport 3 and 4. But that being said, it's better now we don't have the chicane. It is better that most of the multiplayer races don't go through that poxy fucking chicane at the end of the lap. So it's tough to overtake on. It's a lot of nostalgia, I think, for me. It's gonna have to be mid. It's better than Hockenheim, so I'm gonna put it that way around. But it's pretty mid. Like I'm never excited to race Catalunya. But there are a lot of other places I'd rather not be. Like, say that one. That's just going to go straight in the bin. We're just not even going to bother talking about that one. I can't even remember the name of it. Sunset something or other, the oval. It's a bin. It's going in the bin. Right. So moving straight on, we have Grand Oak Raceway combo stuff, short and long. Well, Forza Motorsport tracks have been struggling since sort of Forza Motorsport 3, and they got rid of Amalfi Coast and Fujimi Kaido. But my stances on those are pretty common point at this point. Bring back turn 10 if you see this. Please bring back Fujimi Kaido. That's all we want. It's all anyone who plays Forza wants is Fujimi Kaido. Please, for the love of God, give us Fujimi Kaido. You can have it out the back of Hakone. Like, you have the setting. Just give us Fujimi Kaido, please. But anyway, Grand Oak Raceway. That's pretty whack. No, that's a bit higher. That's what we want. It's pretty whack. Like, there's only really one line through most of the corners. You got the only real overtaking option, like to outbrake someone, is the hair, like the 90 degree before you go up the hill. Even then, I don't race it. I avoid it really. Unfortunately, a Kone suffers a similar fate. It's just a bit shit, really. It's not terrible. It's not by far and away. It's not terrible, but it's pretty wacky. Sorry, I'll try and stop being hip like the youth. Yeah, it's pretty shit. It's not. It's like, the main thing with the Forza tracks in this version of the game is they pretty much only have one line through all the corners, and it's very, very difficult to overtake. And it's just, yeah, I just don't find them particularly interesting, to be honest. Speaking of not finding them particularly interesting, this one's a tough one because do we put it in the bin or is it just a bit shit? I'm not sure. I don't know if Homestead is bin worthy. Have I had any good races on it? No. Turn 3 is a clusterfuck because everyone always goes in there too. No, it's going in the bin. I don't want to race it. Get it out of the game. I don't want it. Yep, moving on. Homestead, they can get in the fucking bin. Right, Indy. This is could potentially anger a few of my friends. The oval, no, I'm not about it. Like, if for NASCAR or whatever, IndyCar, fine, whatever. I'm not about it. We're going to be talking for this one mostly about the street, so the infield bit. Now, it's not a particularly interesting version of it. The version I have in ACC is a much more interesting version of the Indy Speedway. I've had some interesting bits. The sort of sweepy third geary bits in the middle are interesting, and then you get back on the banking, and that makes braking a little bit difficult, spotting the braking point. So there are some interesting bits in it, and you can have some good battles. Do I prefer it to Catalunya? Probably not. Do I prefer it to the Hockenheimring? I keep saying Hungary. It's not even in the fucking game. Do I prefer it to Hockenheimring? Yes. I think that answers my question. For me, it's pretty mid. Right. Kyalami. Long-time viewers of the channel will know that we started out as a bit of a love-hate relationship. I quite enjoyed Kyalami. It really did not like me. We had some rough outings at the beginning, but we seem to be doing better now. We have got the lay of the land with each other. We sort of know how each other sort of works and stuff like that. And it's pretty sound. No, I'm going to put it as bussing. It's a pretty bussing track, I think. It can be a lot of fun. Good overtaking points. You got it at the top of the hill. You've got it coming into turn 1. You can get a good run through Sunset and dive it up into the left-hander as well. And it's just there's a lot of elevation changes. When tire grip gets low, it gets very interesting. When it's dark and rainy, it gets very, very interesting. Coming down Mineshaft, this can be very much a test of will. Yeah, we're going to leave it in bussing. I think that's a pretty bussing track for me. Speaking of a bussing track, WeatherTech Raceway, I mean, it's Mazda Speedway. But Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca, it's always whatever will be. It will never be WeatherTech. So, Laguna. Yeah, it's just not going to take that long. It's a pretty busting track. It's actually, I actually prefer it to Kyalami, I think, as well. If I see Laguna, I'll always pick it. It can be a bit of a clusterfuck. Obviously, we've just got the revamped pit lane. Not sure how I feel about that. I've yet to really race it since the revamp, but yeah, I think definitely bussing with me. It's definitely not a goat track, definitely not. But I think it's definitely better than sound. Yeah, it's pretty bussing. Right, big one. 24 the Le Mans de la Molsani, whatever it is, the long boy. It's the long boy, not the longest boy, but the long boy. This is very car dependent. If I'm in a GT car, it's okay. If I'm in a prototype, it's fun. If it's in anything else, it's kind of shit. Now, I'm a big touring car fan, and it's just not it in touring cars. It's just not it. I really wish Turntail would stop putting touring cars at Le Mans because it's just not it. They do at Spa as well. Spa's at least a bit more interesting. You can do a bit more there, but yeah, Le Mans is just Now is it? Is it mid? They'll probably race it less than with Catalonia, but the track I think is better than Catalonia. So I'm gonna split the difference. We're gonna put it. It's a sound track. It is car dependent. Le Mans prototypes can be interesting as well. The lower the grip, the more interesting it gets, especially when that is inverse to speed as well. So low grip, high speed, and Le Mans can be very interesting. The inverse of that is kind of a bit shit. But yeah, we'll go with sound. Right, Lime Rock. Very dependent on cars. Touring cars, great fun. Slower than touring cars, great fun. Stuff faster than touring cars, no, I'm not touching that with a barge pole. It's just Murder City. It just becomes Lime Rock Murder Death Bowl. So I thought it was going to be relatively easy, but it's actually making me really question these things. Now I thought it'd be like, yeah, bash, easy. I know the tracks I like, I know the tracks I don't like. Trying to justify where it falls on this scale, though. Lime Rock, I think. The same way of Le Mans being constant. It's very, very good and fun. It's very tough to overtake on. That is its major downside. You do kind of have to lick the stamp and send it kind of at this track. I'm going to put it very top of mid. It's better than Catalonia. It's a more interesting circuit than Catalonia. It's trickier than Catalonia because it's all generally, if you're in slower cars, it's all about momentum and maintaining speed, whereas Catalonia is like yeah, I'm gonna put it as it's borderline mid, sound and mid. I think borderline between that. Right, Maple Valley, the mainstay of the Forza made tracks. Maple Valley, it has been around for definitely since Forza Motorsport 2. I can't remember if it's in Forza Motorsport 1 or not yet. But yeah, it has been around for pretty much the entire franchise in one guise or another. It's a pretty sound track, I think. It wouldn't have hung around this long if it wasn't a good track. Tricky in places, especially coming over the crest as you're running across the top before you come down, and the amount of commitment you need into that final corner. Yeah, it's definitely sound, and that's also, I'm going to put it above Le Mans as well. It's more fun in more cars. That touring cars, GT cars, old prototypes, old Le Mans stuff. Yeah. I'm happy with that. Good. That's definitely a soundtrack. Right. So this was actually one of my first encounters of Mid Ohio, and I really enjoy it. I think Mid Ohio has a very close resemblance to a very close feel to Alton Park in the UK. It is tricky. It's not as wide as you'd want it to be. There's a lot of elevation changes, and it takes a lot to be quick there. So where do we put it? I don't quite think it's bussing. It's not one I jump at to race at, and it's not one where I know I'm going to get a good race every time I go there. It's pretty good. It's a good track. It's an interesting track. It's a tricky track, in fact. A tricky track. So, by that logic, it's really got to go in sound. Now, do I want it higher than Maple Valley? Do I want it in between, or do I want it on the other side? No, it's not at the bottom of sound. It's definitely going to be at the top. I think I'm going to put it ahead of Maple. Yep. Yeah, I think we're going to go with that. Yep, that's it. Final offer. We're going to go with that one. Right, moving on. Mugello. Right, Mugello. I enjoy the track, but I don't know if that means it's a good track. just because I enjoy driving it, but I don't think it lends itself to great racing, to be honest. There's a lot. I've had some good battles there, people. But it's generally because there's been a massive overspeed one way or the other, and the curbs are pretty deadly if you're running it too low. So I think it's pretty sound. We're gonna go there. It's probably about a dead heat for me between Maple Valley and Mugello. Maple Valley is more technically demanding, so I think I'd probably enjoy that more. It's more difficult to be quick than it is at Mugello. Mugello is, to be quick, you basically need to spend as much of your time as you can with the tiniest amount of car actually on the track, and then cutting the rest of the fuck out of it. So yeah, we're gonna go with that. Right, so Nurburgring. This is the GP and short configurations. We have the separate Nordschleife for after that. Nurburgring, I love this track. I just really enjoy it, and it's a great track. Generally involves some good racing. It's very difficult to be very quick there. For me, it is pretty bussing. I'm gonna put it. I think it fall between Kyalami. Yeah, I think that's generally how I would look at it. Yeah. Nurburgring GP in short it will fall between. Middle of, yeah, it's a little bit lower than Laguna, but yeah, I think it's a better circuit than Kyalami, to be honest. Right, Road America. This is a tough one. There's a couple of really good corners, but the rest of it's kind of shit. I don't have much appreciation for it, I don't think. So let's have a look at my list. Let's do what when we're struggling at this, we run down the list. So Laguna, no, definitely want Laguna before that. Nurburgring, that's above it. Kyalami, yeah, it's above it. Mid-Ohio versus Road America. Yeah, I would take Mid-Ohio. I prefer racing Mid-Ohio. It's a little bit car dependent, but not as bad, I don't think. Maple Valley. Now I'm now going back from my list and I'm wondering if there's any final alterations I need to make on this. Maple Valley. Probably going to be around there, you know. It's probably going to be between around Maple Valley, probably a little bit more. I generally it has better racing than Mugello does normally. Definitely better than Le Mans in more types of cars. Yeah, I think that's where we're going to land. We're going to put it. If this actually grabs the right part of it, we're going to put it right there. We're going to go right in the middle. We're going to go middle of sound. So Silverstone. This is quite poignant because today is the day of the British Grand Prix that has just finished earlier this few days. I'm not going to say anything about it. Now I've never had much of a sort of pairing with Silverstone, to be honest. It's not a bad track. It's very flat. Like, just speaking purely in a topography standpoint, it's incredibly flat. It's an old old airfield, so it's incredibly flat. And there are some tricky corners, like trying to get Cops correct, and Brooklands, and the Abbey. Okay, it's got a lot of good stuff in it. So it's going to be in sound. I think it will go there. Yeah. So I would probably pick Mugello over it. So I've had the two races. We're just going on like, what would I like to race? What if I was looking at multiplayer? What would I want to see? It would be if I saw Mugello or Silverstone, I would probably take Mugello. The short circuits of Silverstone are like the short circuit. The really short one is just kind of bad, and the medium length one is okay. Not anything to write home about though. So I think that lets that much sound. The Mugello short circuit is also not really very good either. But Yeah, I think if given the two, if I had to choose between Mugello and Silverstone, I would probably pick the Mugello race versus the Silverstone race to spend my time in. Yeah, we'll go with that one. Right, Spa. We have Spa. I don't think there's much of an argument to not putting it in GOAT, to be honest. It is a fantastic track, regardless of what you're in. Eau Rouge is always great. It's always, well, not always, but it's generally a tough corner in regardless of what you're in, apart from if you're driving like some real hyper grippy something or other, or some tiny little shitbox that really doesn't have the horsepower to get you into trouble as you come over Radion. But yeah, it's just, I mean, it's stayed, other than the not being the long through the tree circuit anymore, it stayed relatively untouched for a damn good reason. So I think we've got our first GOAT of the list here. So moving on to Suzuka. Now again, it is a staple for me in the same way that Catalunya was, as I have spent a lot of time there in the earlier Forza games using it for a tuning circuit, because 130R is a pain, and if you can get your car to stick there, you can find massive amount of times, but tuning your car for 130R and keeping it, I mean, it's pretty good for, if you tune it for 130R, you're pretty good at the Degners as well. But yeah, it's a mixture of sort of flowy bits. You got the center S's at the bit, and then you've got the double Degners on the right hand side where you've got to try and keep the car composed. Then you've got the first or second gear hairpin. And spoon, goddamn spoon is always a difficult circuit, difficult corner to get done right. I think for me, it's got to be just. I enjoy it too much for it to be sound. I think there's a clear step in my brain between Suzuka and Mid-Ohio for me in what I would like to race. So it has to go in bussing, I think. And I still think I would prefer Kyle Army over Suzuka given the option. But it's very, very close. Very close. Right, we have the Nurburgring you have at home. The Nurburgring's distant cousin. The Nurburgring, as if describes you over the telephone, Virginia International Raceway. Now, very car dependent VIR. In the touring cars, the OGs from the channel will remember the squiggly wiggly bit issues from very early on. And I do actually very much enjoy racing it when it comes around. Now, I was trying to figure out where or how much I enjoy it. I think we're going to have to... I think this might be bussing, you know? I think this might be bussing. It might be the bottom of bussing, but I think it's... Again, there's kind of a clear step in my mind between that and Mid-Ohio and Road America and Maple Valley. Definitely. There's definitely a step from that tier. VIR does not go in sound. It's now whereabouts in bussing are we putting it? And I think it's going to go after Suzuka. Yeah, we're going to go with that. Yeah, go with that one. Right, so moving now back to slightly different parts of America. We're going to Watkins Glen. Watkins Glen. So, great track. I do very much enjoy it, and I do try and get a race in it when I see it come around in the public lobby rotation. So, that probably leads me to look straight to bussing again. It's definitely better than sound. Again, it's a tier above those sort of circuits that are there. So we're going to be looking at, do we think it's better than Suzuka and VIR? Probably. It's very close though. Very, very close. Yeah, I think it's just a hair above Suzuka. Just a smidge. Just a smidge. But yeah, I think that's my final answer. Yeah, we're going to go with that one. Right, Yas Marina. This won't take too much longer. That is pretty mid, to be honest. It's not a bad circuit. It's just like, you know, it's just, it's just, like I don't care. I just don't care about Yas Marina. I'm going to put it below the Hockenheimring, because at least Hockenheimring has got short circuit. It kind of redeems it a little bit. The Yasses, the short circuits are okay, but the one with the mini carousel is just kind of bad, and it appears a bit too much in rotation for me personally, for me to sort of rate it much higher than mid. So Daytona. Now this could be the controversial one, because I really do not like this track. I find it incredibly boring. It still has the massive problem where you start from a standing start on a bank, which means you go 3 inches forward and 18 feet to the left. And it is just a nightmare to start. Turn 1 isn't always a fucking issue. The banking's not really. It's just slipstream. The bus stop chicane is okay, but it's just like. I don't think it's whack. But I don't think it's much above whack either. It's like I just do not really enjoy Daytona. As an endurance thing, yeah, sure. I get that. It's a tough circuit, like just in terms of maintaining control of the car, because you're coming on and off the bankings and spotting your brake points and just getting the car in. The infield section is pretty milquetoast. It's just like the fuck around in the middle because we've got space to fill, kind of thing. And the banking is just the most difficult part of it is coming on and off the banking, really. Like turn 1, coming off the banking into the braking area, that's a pain in the ass. And not getting a stop so much for the bus stop, but it's just bus stop's just kind of, how much can I cut and get away with it? It's not really trying to take the corner as such. So yeah, we're going to go. I think it deserves to be ahead of Jasperina, but I don't think by much, to be honest. It's pretty mid. It's a pretty mid circuit. Right, brands. Now, most of you will expect me to probably put this all the way up here, but I'm not an idiot. I know Brands is not an amazing track. I have a massive amount of sentimentality for Brands. I love Brands Hatch. It is my local circuit. It's about 40 minutes away from me as I sit here right now. And yes, it is a fantastic track. It is a fantastic day out at the track if you go there as well. Forza's insistence on making it a overnight endurance race does distract from me a little bit, because I know the issues there is in terms of restrictions and what have you around that circuit. TLDR, but lots of old angry white people get annoyed that it's loud when they move next to a racetrack. I know I would say you can't write it, but you can, because it's written every day in the Daily Mail. But anyway, Brands is pretty easy. It's right at the top of Bussin. It is a great track. It does not qualify as GOAT because it is just not good enough. But it is, for me, my favourite track. It is going right to the top of Bussin, and we know where this is going. We're not even going to discuss it. Nordschleife is the goatest of goatest track. It appears very often on my channel for a reason. It is great for challenges. It is a great challenge in itself, just to try and get around it in some modicum of speed. And yes, it is just a great circuit, as you don't need me to tell you. Right, we come to the final one, the most recent addition to the game. We have Sebring. Now, I have generally struggled for the creation of the entirety of the Forza franchise when it comes to getting through the final fucking corner. I can never get that line right. I also have I know it's not much of a thing in Forza in terms of how much you can cut coming onto that back straight before the long right-hander to get you back over the start-finish line. But the actual line through that series of corners, but before you get onto that straight, bears no resemblance to the actual shape of the track, and cars are like 18 feet off to the left-hand side before turning into the corner. And that just irks me. I find it irksome. So I'm going to be a bit mean with Sebring. It's not a bad track by any way. It's definitely not whacking. It's definitely not getting the fucking bin. But it's going to be probably a pretty mid circuit for me. I think it might be mid to sound, in fact. Because I would always do Sebring over 24 hours over the Le Mans 24-hour circuit. But what I do, it's just a tough one for the final one here. We're ending this tough here. Sebring. Yeah. That's the way I think we're going. We're going with sound. I would probably prefer Silverstone over it, but there's a clear step between where it is in comparison, like in the same conversation as the repaired Le Mans circuit. There is a step down to Lime Rock and Catalunya and Indy there for me. Right, so there we have it, guys. We have gone through all of the circuits in Forza Motorsport, and here is my arbitrary tier listing based on nothing but anecdotal data. Let me know if you disagree. I'm sure there'll be some in there that you do disagree. Do please leave a comment below. Let me know where I'm wrong. I'm sure there are many places I am wrong. But if you did enjoy this one, my regular scheduled content is sim racing with like onboard commentary and what have you. So please do go check those out if you've enjoyed this one. And if you have enjoyed this, please press subscribe. We are getting very, very close to 1,000 subscribers, and it'd be a massive help for me if you do enjoy this content. You click that little button and show YouTube that you do actually like me. You really like me. Anyway, but yes, it is very, very late now. It is coming close to 1 in the morning, and I'm hopefully going to get this video out today. So I'm going to sign off here. I'm going to say thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.